Hello, insiders. It's your girl, Nicole, aka NRTheInsider. I am a political law attorney in Washington, D.C., and I make content about politics, culture, the law, merging it all together. I believe information is power, and I'm here to bring power to the people. This week, we have a lot to talk about. Welcome back if you've been a subscriber for a minute. Hello, if you're new. On this channel, we get into it, okay? You see, I got my laptop today because there's a lot going on. First, we're going to start off talking about Howard University. Now, you probably done already heard the story. They unenrolled about 500 students. And now the internet is going crazy, so we gotta talk about that. And then we're gonna make our way over to Chicago to talk about the girlies in the WNBA. And of course, we can't talk about Chicago without Barack Obama. Catch that. Am I doing it right? I don't know. Then we're taking it over to Ryan Clark because we gotta talk about Black people in sports. And this story is something that all of us Black people, whether you're in corporate America, wherever you work in, you can relate. And we gotta talk about KeKe. Now, we all love KeKe Palmer, but she said some things that NRTheInsider just could not get with. And finally, we gotta talk about our fallen brother, Nolan Wells. So we got a lot to get into this week. Let's talk about it. So if you haven't heard yet, Howard University sent an email to about 502 y'all incoming freshmen on July 22nd, telling them that they were unenrolled from the fall 2026 class. Now, mind you, some of these students had already put down deposits. Some of them paid their balance in full, but they got the email regardless. And some of them also did not do what they were supposed to do to get into the fall 2026 class. So here's the issue. You got Howard on one side saying that we have been sending you letter after letter, notification after notification, all winter and all spring, telling you that, hey, deadlines are coming up. Make sure you pay, we don't have your money yet. And I actually read some of the correspondence, and the emails and the letters are pretty clear to me. And on the other hand, you have the students and their families who are saying, well, look, I either paid my whole tuition, so I don't know why y'all are sitting here trying to unenroll me, or when I checked my account balance online, it showed that I was good to go. Or the dates that you sent me in this email was different than what I saw on the website. I tried to call you guys, you're not answering the phone. My scholarship, people who are sending over the scholarship, they say they can't get in touch with you. There's a lot of controversy around what's actually happening. So some of this is giving he said, she said. Some of it is also given like, well, if you got the letters and you know you should have been paying and you know you didn't pay, then you kind of got to get unenrolled. But on the flip side, y'all got my bread, so what's the issue here? And the hard thing about this, a lot of these students, well, the students got the notifications very close to the start of the fall semester. So they packing their bags, they having family parties, the church is praying for them because we prayed for some college students in church today. Now they don't even know if they're gonna go to school. Some more hard facts about this. Howard has said that they do lack some resources in how they've been handling questions about this. Like I said, students have been saying that they've been reaching out and haven't heard back. One of Howard's independent scholarship advisors said that she had to answer over 400 emails by herself from parents and students calling, crying, like, what's going on? One person handling 400 things? Now, this is my problem with this, Howard. And yes, I'm looking at Howard. As a fellow HBCU graduate, shout out to Texas Southern, the only HBCU that really matters. No, I'm just playing, we all family. As a fellow HBCU graduate, I understand that HBCUs are systemically under-resourced, undervalued, all of the things. But what about the students? This is only gonna affect the students who have to go to this school and try to make the best out of this terrible situation. And mind you, this is not the first time Howard has been in a scandal. Remember when the students were having issues with their dorms and then some of the celebrities were coming out telling them to just be quiet? I think that was Felicia Rashad. Howard, if y'all want to try to be the Mecca, you got to do better for the kids, okay? They deserve so much better than careless emails going out to students who didn't deserve them. If that was my child who got an email saying they had been unenrolled after we done paid all the money, oh nah, I'm knocking on every door at Howard. Hello? Somebody gonna talk to me and I'm going on the news? No, So I totally understand the frustration. Now, for those of y'all out there who know you didn't pay and you supposed to get the email, you shouldn't be saying nothing. Hopefully Howard resolves this and our beautiful Black HBCU students still get to go and enjoy 2026-27 school year. Ooh, now that was a little bit heavy. So let's talk about something a little bit more joyful. On Saturday, July 25th, almost 20,000 people packed the United Center for the WNBA All-Star game. Now, my notes are saying that this is the largest crowd in WNBA All-Star history. And those of y'all talking about women sports are boring. People don't watch women's sports. Well, apparently 20,000 people wanted to watch. And we got people sitting at home who couldn't get the flight because we was just in Chicago for the presidential opening and Black Yacht Weekend. And women's sports popping. And let me give you some more context on how fast the league is growing. So the arena that they were playing in is about half the size of the building that hosted the game just 4 years ago. Come on, y'all. This was the WNBA's 30th season, and so you know they had to show up and show out. There were stars in the building, and it was an incredible game. They also wore the league's original 1997 red and blue throwback jerseys. Now this is where it gets real good. good. This is where it gets so good. Before the game, President Obama joined the players at the Obama Presidential Center. And you know what? Those women were the first professional athletes ever to play on that court. Think about what that image really means, right? The first black president, fabulous historical presidential center, and you have women's sports being highlighted, first ever professional athletes in a league that's dominated by black women. Can it get any better than this? Now, since I'm an attorney, you know I gotta make this a little bit legal. You know WNBA players have been in talks for quite a while about their salaries and how much money they're making. And I have another video about this, y'all should check it out. When it's time to negotiate these players' salaries, the WNBA needs to start thinking about growth and how they can attract and retain the talent, because the girls, they pulling in the numbers, okay? We're watching them play. So give them what they deserve, WNBA. Women's basketball isn't the future of sports anymore. It is the present. It is here and now. The girlies need to be paid like they should be. We got some joy for our girlies in the WNBA, but unfortunately, sports wasn't all that great this week, because we also got to talk about Ryan Clark, who was let go from ESPN. The reason why I wanted to cover this story is because this is touching for a lot of us who work in corporate America or in fields that, I mean, heck, every single field in America where black people got to scratch and climb just to get a dollar, okay? Let's talk about it. So on Monday, July 20th, while NFL Live was on air, Ryan Clark got the news that he was fired. Didn't finish the broadcast, and ESPN's position was that it was a numbers decision, that job cuts were connected to the merger with the NFL Network. Now, we hear all the time about how when mergers happen, somebody's getting cut, okay? There's also arguments that since Clark was one of the more expensive people that they were paying, because he was getting about $2 million a year, that was part of the reason. I'm not really convinced, because y'all got all the money in the world. $2 million ain't nothing for y'all. Actually, let me make a correction. So they didn't say that he was fired. They said that he was laid off, which big legal difference there. I'm not gonna get into all that. On his podcast, The Pivot, he said, and I quote, "They're using layoffs as a cover and a camouflage for what they already intended on doing." Ryan Clark is peeping game. Now, I can't say, you know, what really happened in the ESPN meetings, because none of us know, and it could very well be that it was simply the merger and budget cuts were made and all the things, right? This story is hitting close to home for a lot of us, right? People loved watching Ryan Clark. I am not a big sports fan, but I know exactly who he is. I see the clips online all the time. He's very handsome. He keeps me engaged. He keeps a lot of people engaged. Good at his job, okay? And he played in the NFL for quite a while, so he knows what he's talking about. All of these credentials, all of this personality, charisma, attractiveness, all the things, and that still was not enough in the man's world to be able to keep his job. Clark also, and a lot of people online are talking about how y'all blaming the mergers, but maybe what you're really mad about is the fact that Mr. Clark stays true to himself. He tries to, you know? He is a black man through and through. And as black people, we know sometimes that'll get you axed, and it's unfortunate. Whatever happened at ESPN, the good thing is that Ryan Clark walked away with his dignity, and the world is rooting for him. Black people, you know we're rooting for him. So we're excited to see what he does next. Now I got to close the laptop. We're gonna talk about another beloved black celebrity. But this story's a little bit different, because I just did not like what she had to say about protests and social movements and all the things. So let me play the clip for y'all, and then we'll talk about it.
I remember when your mama used to say, like, don't point no fingers at nobody because you got a few pointing back at you. I've been thinking we need to get back to really ruminating on that statement, because there is so much morally ethical bullying going on. You know what I'm saying? People come on your page, they mad, you know, about corporations, but still want their next day delivery on time. They're on all of a different side of the same contradiction.
So I didn't want to play the whole clip because we ain't got time to be sitting here and watching that. Y'all can go to her page. I'm sure a lot of y'all follow the amazing KeKe Palmer if you want to see the full clip. I got to talk about why this is all wrong. All the way wrong. Got 3 good old reasons for y'all. Back to my laptop, because this is serious, okay? Number 1, protest. Can y'all hear the sirens outside? Protesting and speaking out is not an all or nothing thing. It never has been, it never will be, and it should not be. That is unrealistic and not effective. So now I'm gonna take y'all back to the civil rights movement, because first of all, that was the best movement of all time. Argue with whoever you want to argue with about that, but it was the best movement of all time, okay? And we could learn a thing or two from them. When our civil rights forefathers and foremothers were protesting during the civil rights movement, they did not protest every single thing that was connected to white supremacy and capitalism. You know why? Because in the United States, that is literally everything. There is no possible way to protest all of white supremacy. Our leaders were strategic about what they decided to protest. With KeKe's argument, basically they shouldn't have did nothing because they couldn't do everything. And she talked about how people need to basically don't say nothing if you got your own skeletons. Our civil rights leaders were flawed people, because what? They were human beings. Even though our leaders were flawed, they still achieved so much. The whole idea that you got to protest everything or nothing, and that if you flawed, then you don't get to say nothing and point out no injustice. I feel like that little emoji. Didn't she have a purple shirt on? Number 2. I hear this argument all the time.
Why do you gonna protest Walmart and not Amazon? How you gonna protest Target and not Starbucks? How you mad at Jay-Z but not Kendrick Lamar about being at Target?
It makes me want to rip my hair out, okay? Back to the civil rights movement. Any movement that actually has some weight to it, you pick big giants and you swing at them because you can't swing at everybody and you can't sustain it. If you want masses of people to be able to effectively protest, you gotta pick a target, David and Goliath. You got one chance, okay? And lastly, for y'all that make this argument like KeKe was making, can you please tell me what the solution is? Maybe y'all could put that in the comments. If the argument is that if you can't be consistent in your protest and you shouldn't protest anything, are you saying that we should all just sit here and just, well, shoot, I could protest Target, but not Walmart, so I guess I gotta keep going. Like, no, that can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be right. So what is the solution that y'all have? Y'all got me up in here sweating, child. I got to move on. Now I want to shift gears with the final story of the day to talk about a story that's so tragic that has been on all of our hearts and minds and spirits in the Black community and hopefully other communities too. Nolan Wells. The independent autopsy for Nolan Wells just dropped on Wednesday, July 22nd. Nolan Wells was an 18-year-old teenager who went to Horn Island off the coast of Mississippi on the July 4th weekend with some of his white friends. He never came home and his body was found days later, and he was recently laid to rest. Now, his friends are going around doing interviews, trying to explain away their innocence, and it's really not great because I'm sitting here like, if my friend passed away and I was in the vicinity, I just saw him that same day, like I cannot imagine even having the audacity and the gumption to go on a podcast. I'm in the bed crying. I can't even barely talk to the police. I can't go to class. I can't talk to my parents. Well, I guess it's summer school, but whatever. I can't do none of that because my friend just died. I was just having a wonderful holiday celebration with him and I'm sad, but y'all sitting here going around doing podcasts. Okay. All right, anyway, back to my reporting, okay? Nolan Wells' family and attorneys Ben Crump and other people that are working with them decided that it would be a great idea to do an independent autopsy aside from what Mississippi is doing because they want to get to the bottom of what the heck is going on. So the results came in and Benjamin Crump read them at the NAACP convention. Now, unfortunately, there was not a lot of information that we got from this autopsy. The pathologist said that foul play cannot be ruled out. When Nolan's body arrived for the second autopsy, his throat was missing. The state of Mississippi kept it, and that is standard practice to remove those structures because they will do closer study. So that means that the autopsy that Nolan Wells' family requested wasn't able to assess his throat to see if that had anything to do with his death. Well, that's a frustrating thing because everyone was hoping that we would have some answers by now, but we still have to wait for the report from Mississippi, which is still pending, by the way. There was also a 12 by 18 inch area of discoloration on the back of his head. Very strange, but it's still not clear what that is. There were no fractures or cuts in the area, so the cause of that discoloration is still unknown, but it is fishy, very fishy. And the body was so decomposed that you couldn't tell if there were bruises or abrasions on his body when the pathologist received it. So there's some things that make the second autopsy a little bit tricky. Everybody's wondering, okay, so now what are we gonna do? So now we have to wait for the Mississippi autopsy to come out so that we can get some answers, more investigations by the state. All I can say is that Nolan Wells' family deserves a thorough investigation, and I hope that Nolan Wells' friends cut out the interviews and the podcasts because it's not a good look. And for a family that's grieving, I would hate to have to sit there and watch those children doing that. I mean, imagine if they had let those children into their home because, you know, Black parents are loving and welcoming, and then my son passes away, and the same child that I have fed and broke bread with is now out here doing podcast interviews. Y'all keep his family, his parents, his true friends in your prayers because they really need it right now. Okay, insiders, that was our week. Lots of ups and downs. We had Howard University trying to tell the kids they can't go to class. ESPN giving our beloved Black man the axe. WNBA All-Star game giving us a little glimpse of hope. KeKe Palmer kind of talking about the side of her neck. And then we got Nolan Wells' autopsy that didn't give us much information. Hopefully next week we have more bright spots. But thanks for watching, insiders. Subscribe, like, comment, share it with your cousin who needs to listen and pay attention to the news. You know you got some of them. Okay, bye.